Pastor Dutchy Beats.
There he is.
This guy.
You like it?
Not really, but it's funny.
whatever floats your boat, mate. You know what I mean? At this point.
Yeah. I was trying different ones, innit? I see that.
Why are you so long? Is that why you're 20 minutes late?
He turns up 20 minutes late. Talking about, I didn't choose the thug life chose me.
How'd you do that?
Huh? You go to the video, background and filters bit. So look, I'll change it. I'll be like this now. There you go. There's that one.
Because I did that on, on Skype, and I had that picture of me and Cujo.
That's a good one. Jen's glasses, look, just need to be red, man.
Yeah, I ain't got no glasses today, man. The glasses are
what happened?
in the car. I think they're in the car, to be fair.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
It's my actual TV.
Yeah?
Yeah, the TV is good.
Yeah. So, what's going on?
You tell me, mate. You tell me. So first of all, I guess let's officially start the podcast then. Now that AC's decided to join us.
Yeah.
Welcome to the How You Doing, Mate podcast.
The first remote one.
The first remote one. Obviously, we can't be in studio because we're back in lockdown.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a mazza. Is anyone taking this lockdown seriously?
That's exactly what I was about to say. I don't know. I've been going to work every day.
Oh, AC died. AC just died. He's an angel now. AC caught the Rona.
I know. One MC. I know he got it, and he was before thinking it wasn't serious, and now he's got it. He actually had to go to hospital and everything, but now he's out of hospital. But he said he had the numb hands and feet were really cold.
Yeah.
And he had the feeling of like someone squeezing on his chest, and shortness of breath and all that. And then also he had the dry cough, and then no taste, no scent, and he had a really bad temperature.
Are we allowed to make jokes about corona yet? Is that?
I think so.
I was gonna make a squeezing on chest. Right? How do I get that then? Have to pay for that. But yeah, hey, we wish Terror Slim a speedy recovery. But anyway, he said someone did take it seriously. You cut off Terry, man. I tell you what, how you been, man?
Yeah, I've been going to work every day. Yeah, I tell you what, my life has been a big fuck off ball of stress. My boiler is still not fixed.
Oh shit, the boiler.
Fucking boiler, man. Like, this is so pedestrian. It's such a pedestrian grown-up thing to fucking be stressed about. But the guy came around on Monday, as I was all updating you last Sunday on the podcast about it.
Yeah.
It's the gas supply. So I had to get another guy round. He had to put an entire new gas supply from my gas box all the way around the house into the house. Still didn't work. So. Yeah, and then they couldn't work out what it was, and then they phoned me the other day and said that it's probably something to do with the burner, like because they keep getting reports about my particular model of boiler. It's so boring, man. It's been my entire week. It's been such a ball ache. But yeah,
I feel hot water.
When you become an adult, man. When you become an adult, I feel like boilers play a really big part of being an adult.
Spending money plays a really big part of being an adult.
Now, but boilers are like a massive thing. So obviously, I'm still in the process of moving house, and every time we go into a house, like the number one question my wife will ask me will be like, "How old is the boiler?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's what my sister said. When I got a new boiler, my sister goes, "Well, put value on your house," and I'm like, "I can fuck on the house."
That's nuts. Like, yeah.
I remember like 2 years ago, my boiler went. I didn't have any hot water or flipping heating for about a month, man. It was just mad.
It's getting on for a month now for me.
Yeah.
It's getting on for about a month. I spent out all that money over the last month, and I actually had to take a shower with a kettle. There's nothing more distressing than looking down at 6 o'clock in the morning while you pour hot water from a kettle over your manhood. I think it's scared me for life, man. I mean, it's obviously not boiling. I put cold.
Yeah, that'd be a whole different
it's bad, news, man. It's so distressing to look at. I think I've got PTSD from looking at it.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hear about boilers anymore, man. Well, obviously, I want to hear about your boiler because that's you gotta have to.
No, I don't want to hear about my boiler. I never want to hear about my boiler again. I just want it to work.
Listen, right now we've got about 18 fans, and the fans want to know about the boiler, innit? They want to be updated. So
yeah, we get fans now then.
Pretty much, man. We got a few listeners. Apparently, right. So this is how, if you get 36 downloads per episode, you're in like the top 50% of podcasts in the world.
Jeez.
Because there's so many podcasts now. Yeah, everyone's doing it, and most podcasts don't really have that many listeners.
No, most podcasts are shit. That's why. It's so hard to find good podcasts.
But you know what it is? I find with podcasts, because I'm really random with the podcasts I listen to, and some of the podcasts I listen to, I found by accident, and I always feel like I'm not the target audience to be listening to these guys, but somehow they just work. Obviously, the obvious ones I listen to, like I don't know, Joe Budden or whatever, like the hip hop and rap ones. But I listen to some comic book ones, which are just like a bunch of like weird men talking about comic books.
Yeah. And
it's like one of my favorite podcasts. I listen to the History of Japan podcast, like just random stuff. And I always feel like, do they have anyone really listening apart from?
I don't think a lot of them do. Like I come across like these fan theory podcasts because I'm a big like you, big Marvel fan, big DC fan and stuff. And I come across all these fan theory ones, and I find them and download like 5 episodes, and I think to myself, who can actually listen to this? Like, who's going to make their way all the way through it's a 4.5 hour podcast where he talks about Thor's different whatever, like these tiny minutiae of like fucking comic. But mind you, that people do like some of these podcasts. Like that's the thing on YouTube. This stuff gets hundreds of thousands of views.
Yeah, but then even saying that,
it gets put on like that.
Go on, AC.
Oh, I was gonna say what like me, if I'm going to the gym or if I'm driving a long drive, then the podcast is a great one for that. Usually I'm on YouTube and finding them on there.
Yeah.
Like Jen, the one you're talking about, the comic one, is that Jodie's Corner one or what?
Nah, man, this is comic. What's it called? Comic Book Geeks or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I think like with me, even with podcasts as well, if the podcast is less than like an hour, I probably won't check it. Like just the way I like to consume podcasts, I'm like, I want a good like at least 2 hours, at least an hour and a half. If it's less than an hour and a half, I'm like,
But like, there's a few really good like kind of hip hop podcasts. I'm sure I saw the bloke like on Twitter saying he was like looking forward to checking this podcast out. The 808 Crate podcast.
Oh, cool, with Summit. I think and Connect as well.
Yeah, that's wicked. That I really like that part. He just had Stretch and Bobbito on, who are like 90s hip hop like kind of kings. It was like half an hour long. So when I saw it, I was really disappointed because you want in that format, you want at least an hour and a half.
Because I feel like that's the beauty of a podcast, is not having a time limit. Like obviously with a radio interview, you only have a certain amount of time you can do. And I feel like if you're going, like for me as well, if someone says, "Oh, can I interview you for a podcast?" and they're like, "Yeah, it's only going to be 20 minutes," I'm like, "What?" Like I expect, if I'm doing a podcast interview, I expect it to be a couple of hours where you're just chilling. And I feel like
if you listen to I've gone back to the Champs actually, and I was just listening to it earlier when you hit me up about what's the one you hit me up about?
JB Smooth.
Yeah, the JB Smooth.
Yeah, man, the classic.
I was listening to the Chris Rock one, and Chris Rock said to Neil Brennan, what's the difference between a radio show and a podcast? And he goes, well, a radio show is like, you go on there, you promote what you're doing, and it's all really like kind of about now. Like the podcast is like long format. You get to tell your story. It's like loads of like kind of was it autobiographical, biographical, or whatever you get on there and get like kind of tell your story. And that's what's interesting about podcasts. That's
the thing though. So I was saying to you off just before we started this, I've started the Quality of a Quarantine podcast show again, yeah. And originally that was always supposed to be quite shorter interviews and stuff, but it's actually turned into podcast format, and we go on for at least an hour. Yeah. And so I was trying to get Connie Con to come on the show, and he was saying like, yeah, we've done so many interviews, man. I just don't know what left there is to say. And my thing is like, that's the difference. This isn't really, it's never going to be an interview in a podcast. It should always be a conversation where we can talk about things that haven't been touched on before, or there's not things that we need to like rush over.
100%.
And I feel that's the beauty. That's the beauty of podcasts, man.
But you can actually get you can get an artist on there or a writer or whatever and ask their opinion on stuff as well. It doesn't have to be all about necessarily their history or what their latest release is. You can talk about their opinions and stuff.
I like it, man. I like that. I'm a big podcast fan, and I have been since '98, man. Remember the Ricky Gervais podcast?
Yeah.
We that was our thing, man.
That one where they had, is that the one where they were going on about Carl Pilkington's head being like an orange or something?
Yeah, that's exactly what
it was. That's where it all started. Before you trendies got involved, it was our thing, man. It was our thing back in our XFM.
You were playing that in the car. I remember. Way back.
But that wasn't even like, that was like after the fact though. That was because I got the hard drive of all the old ones. So and they go back to that. And from '98, I think they started doing it. And again, it wasn't a podcast. It was radio show, but someone had like chopped down the bits in between and made it into a podcast, and that's what kind
100%. I remember listening to that on a Saturday afternoon in whatever it was, 98, 99, in fucking tears. And when that hit the podcast, when I got my first like kind of iPod, the first thing I looked for was that. And when they did the Ricky Gervais show, like the animated one, that all just came rushing back again because it was just all edits of that. Yeah. Basically, like pretty much the old XFM show and like their podcast that they did afterwards. Fuck me, man! Like the really early ones, before they started like properly drilling into Carl, when Carl. Their relationship was just getting a bit iffy, like Steve and Carl, when Carl was talking about his freak books and stuff like that. And bring Steve into the conversation, man. Because I found them all on Spotify again a little while ago.
Oh, sick.
Someone's edited them all together and like kind of put like Carl's diary and like Carl about monkeys and stuff like that all into like some of them are like 45 minutes, some of them are like 3 hours long. In tears again, absolutely in tears on the train on the way back from work, dying.
Did they fall out in real life?
Nah, man. Nah.
Because I thought they started just bullying Carl all the time, innit? It felt like the two guys bullying another guy.
I think like, again, it's one of those things, yeah? If you haven't seen the relationship evolve, look at it like character building. And you, from the very first episodes where he was just a producer and he wasn't talking, and they were talking about him, then to like the first time he ever said anything on mic, and you just see the progression from there, and then you get the relationship. So it's not
magical.
Yeah, man. It's like you wouldn't understand, and I feel like, especially the way Ricky Gervais is, like.
But you kind of got to understand the way Carl Pilkington is as well. Like, I think I was talking to a girl in Canada about it. She's like, I hate that show. They're just like, they bully this guy who's obviously got problems. And I'm like, he's not problems. Like, he's just that way. He's like working class, Manchester, very like kind of like pragmatic. Like, no, not pragmatic. Just straight.
Matter of fact.
Yeah.
Man.
Completely.
He ain't playing the character then. He playing the character.
Nah, not even close to being. Like, I think, actually, do you know what? I feel like when he started, so after the show got big and then he started doing his own show, I feel like there were certain elements of kind of like playing up his character.
Yeah.
But to me, that's never him at his best. Him at his best is when he says the things that he thinks are normal,
Yeah.
And they just go, wait, what the fuck did you just say? Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like the monkey news, where that comes from.
It's when he used to say like, "Oh no, I've learned enough today," like that. It's like, learned part. He's like, I don't know, the I don't know, the snails have penises or something like that.
I've never seen an old man eating a Twix. Like, there's so many just gold moments, man. There's so many
I can eat a knob at night as well. He's just
you can do what?
right, come on there, house producer, to make this into a remix.
And they did as well.
They did, yeah. There was loads of versions of it.
Those are good podcast times, man. That is when Painkillers and Pilkington, my EP, came out. That was deep in that time where, yeah, man, Pilkington was the one, man. Was the one. But yeah, man, I guess this week, the biggest topic, the only topic really, has been the election. We no longer have Trump as the American president-elect. Number 45 is out the yard, and Sleepy Joe is taking over. How did you lot like take in the whole media circus, election?
I didn't.
Circus?
Do you know what? I ignored it. Like, I completely ignored it until, like, what? Because when was it supposed to be called? It was supposed to be called on Friday. Thursday. I think it was.
No. We're talking like Tuesday.
Wednesday. Or Tuesday.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I was completely, like, I thought the only way that I'm going to get through this is just to completely ignore it. And I was purely getting joke updates off of Facebook. That's the only way I was staying in touch with it. Just on my Facebook timeline. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't stand Trump. Like, I genuinely can't. I'm not going to get into his politics or anything like that because I don't really know him. But I can't stand him as a person, man. And I just wanted him. I just don't want to see him every single day doing something fucking stupid. So like, or saying something really dumb or whatever. Like, yeah. So I'm just happy to see the back of him.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. I'm really not. I think at first.
Oh, wait, you wanted him to win?
Wanted who to win? Trump.
You wanted Trump to win?
Me?
Yeah.
You fucking dickhead.
You just said you're not happy, innit? You said you're not happy. Terry goes, he's happy, and then you went, I'm not. So I thought, okay, you wanted Trump.
When Trump first like came on the scene, yeah. I've always seen him as a joke, innit?
Yeah,
He's a joke, man.
But he's a dangerous joke, man. Like, he's a dangerous joke.
Like the village idiot is always going to be the village idiot. But if you make the village idiot in charge of fucking security and the treasury,
yeah,
things become a problem. And I think as well, it's that whole thing of, because he's a dickhead, other dickheads see him and think, oh, cool, I can be a dickhead as well.
When he was on The Apprentice, I remember I watched a couple of them American Apprentice shows, yeah, and I thought he was actually more polite than Alan Sugar on our ones, yeah, the way he used to talk to the people. So from that, I didn't think nothing of it. But then when he started doing the birther thing for Obama and all that kind of stuff, I just thought, this was a prick, yeah. And then I didn't think he was going to become president. I didn't think it was.
No one did. No one expected it. Like, everybody thought it was just a little fucking joke.
Yeah.
And Hillary was going to be the president.
Yeah. But I think the problem the Democrats did then, they all thought he was a joke. So they thought, we can just get away with not campaigning as hard as we would have if there was a so-called serious candidate in there. So then they basically let him have a lot of free press and everything. And then they ended up working for him rather than them, innit? So a bit of a mad one, man.
I mean, whatever's happened, they like his entire presidency and his win at the last election has changed politics globally forever.
Yeah.
Like that's the problem is, right, I think he's a fucking idiot. I think he's like a piece of shit, really. Like, I don't know much about his politics. I know enough to not like him. But I don't think his politics are that different from anybody else, to be honest. Like, I just think he was more of a boastful idiot about it. But the problem that we're going to face, like, kind of moving forward, and I think this is a bit of a global problem, is not Trump, it's Trumpism. like the what's happened after, who he's like emboldened, like this idea that you can be an ignorant, borderline psychopath, like nationalist, borderline racist, and deny absolutely everything. Deny that you're a racist, deny that you're a sexist, and be just lie through your fucking teeth, and not take into account any kind of facts or anything like that, and still think that everything that you say is valid and everybody should listen to you. And also the rise of like this fucking white supremacy that, I mean, there's people all over the place that says, oh yeah, he never supported white supremacy, and that was all the media like kind of taking what he said out of context, and they always edited his interviews and stuff like that. Bollocks, absolute bollocks, like complete bollocks. He played to the white supremacists because that's where he knew that he was going to. Well, he played to the racists because that's where he knew he was going to get his votes from.
It's like with Ronald Reagan when he did the welfare queen thing back in the day.
Exactly.
Like similar thing there. But definitely Trump was playing to those people. He knew what he was doing. But then
100%.
like the
sectarianism in America.
Now, say that again.
He's created like sectarianism in America. Like
before, definitely he's added to it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a kind of there was a blurred line there, but like America, for all its faults and for all it was pretty centre for a long time. Like there's oppression, there was obviously like kind of there's a lot of shitty problems in America, but he's actually created in the same way that Brexit's created here this sectarian like society where you're either hard right or you're hard left. Or
this is what we talked about last week with Tommy Robinson, yeah.
Yeah.
Where you say him himself, yeah, he might not be the worst human on earth, yeah, even if he might be pretty close. The same with Trump. Like I've seen Trump do some things that I've been like, okay, I mean that's not too bad. But it's not about him. It's all the dog whistling. It's the fact that if Trump may not be a white supremacist, but white supremacists love Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, he appealed to him.
But see, what was it? You know that thing they were talking about, his platinum plan for African American community and that.
Ice Cube's platinum plan. No one knows.
Ice Cube who gave it to him.
Yeah. So Ice Cube put together this what he called the platinum plan, and basically what Ice Cube did was he said, I want to speak to whoever. I want to speak to either Biden or Trump. Whoever wants to speak to me, I want to speak to you lot about doing some shit. So Trump was like, all right, come through my G. So then Ice Cube went to speak to him, and then everybody got mad. Everyone was like, nah, you're endorsing Trump, and boom, boom, boom. So that's where the issues come up. But I don't think, well, I don't think. I haven't seen any evidence of what the platinum, package is. I've got the platinum package on Pornhub. I don't think it's the same thing. But so
the platinum package on Tesco's mobile. It just means that you get 3G internet.
I definitely don't have that, man. My internet's shit right now. But
so like with so will Biden talk to Ice Cube as well then about that?
We'll see. Like he had a chance to before and didn't. I'm not sure why he didn't.
Was it?
Because some people I've seen argue, like they always say, the Democrats just take people's votes for granted because Afro-Americans, they vote 99% Democrat or something. So there might be some truth in that as well. There might be some truth in that as well. But like I keep telling you, they don't do anything to like help. That's what the arguments were. So that's why like a load of people like Candace Owens and all that were doing that Brexit thing, saying now we can give the Republicans a chance and blah 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 blah.
Listen, do you know what though? It's like it's like we'll give the Republicans a chance. It's like you had 4 years, man. What have you been doing? Like, I feel like that's always been the thing with me, where people are like, oh, if you want to, we need Trump for change, and it's like, well, you had Trump. Like, what was done?
I was expecting him to have 8 years. I wasn't expecting him to be a 4-year one.
Me too, to be honest. But but then again,
presidents can't change anything in 4 years. They need that 8 years to actually, like, that first 4 years is them just establishing themselves, and then the second 4 years, because everything they do, because ultimately it's always going to be that like kind of pendulum where it's going to swing from one to the other, from one to the other. And that's what it's always like kind of traditionally been like. So whatever won in those 4 years, whatever won, you see what Trump did, the first things that he did when he came in was got rid of everything that Obama did.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be that. So the presidencies never really like benefit anyone apart from the people that they always benefit, which is big business, like with lobby big business. So who the fuck knows?
That's the problem though, because we're in this, when we're talking about the tribalism, the fact that somebody could come in and give the people, so let's do analogy, yeah? These people are in a house, they need some food. Someone's come in, giving them loads of food, like this food is ready for you lot to eat. The other person's come in and go, no, he's not on my team, I'm gonna give you food. And instead of just carrying on giving them the food that was already there, they throw it all in the bin and then order a whole another lot.
Yeah, yeah.
They're starving. They're like, no, don't worry, we ordered more food is coming. But it's like, well, why didn't you just give us that food that was right there?
Yeah, yeah.
And the people always suffer. And until we kind of get past that to a point where the politicians decide, nah, forget what the party line is, forget who did that, people work together. And where you see people working together, especially in politics, is on the local level.
On the local level, every time. Yeah, every time.
And like, obviously, I work in Harrow, and like I work with Conservative councillors probably more than I work with Labour councillors. There's some cool Labour councillors. In fact, actually, I shouldn't even say it, I said too much, but people figure it out. But whatever, I don't give a fuck. The Labour councillor, one of the Labour councillors I work with, he was some dickhead, man. Like, just on some proper, just, you know, like some trying to be down with the kids shit. And I was just like, don't do that, man. Don't do that, please. And the Conservative council I work with, yeah, this old woman, yeah, she must be in her 70s, right? She was like cool as fuck. And you know what I mean? And like, and the ones that I worked with, they were the ones that were like, yo, we're trying to get things changed, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. And it's just like, on the local level, it's like, you kind of see people, because I guess you're working with people who live in the area as well.
Yeah. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's that connection to the area. But like, there is obviously crossover, because even like all these MPs are like kind of they're connected to their local area. Well, some of them are, some of them aren't. But on the whole, like they're two different worlds. Local and national government are two totally different things.
Well, the Republicans.
That's why Trump doing increasing the sectarian stuff is not helpful, because then it makes everyone like just hate each other if they're in a different party. Whereas like, and on the local level, then they might not even be willing to work together. Like, you know, at the moment, like people, you know, like you might not like the Conservatives' policies, but if you're meeting a good local councillor who's a Conservative and then they're doing trying to help, then obviously that's a good thing, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, if you look at the Green Party, right? So the Green Party are never going to hold any kind of. It's never going to happen. They're never going to hold any like kind of real authority in the House of Parliament or whatever. But their local councillors are like in Walthamstow, in Brighton, places like that. They actually make real difference to like the local area. So they're two completely different things. Like the national government is more concerned with like kind of legislation to protect big business and so on and so forth, and like looking at the bigger picture. Local government, and again it goes back to this Marcus Rashford thing, where local government will rebel again. What's that?
That's just what I was about to say.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
that we're going to get to a place where we have to start doing more things for ourselves, and I feel like that's almost part of being politicized. Is the voting thing is cool, and knowing who's in power is cool, but part of being politicized is really understanding what's the reason for our members of parliament in the first place. What are they supposed to do? What change are they supposed to affect? And once we understand that, there's so much of the middleman you can cut out and actually get things done. And being politicized means turning up to your local meetings, man. Like,
it does, and it also means that understanding that the grassroots, anything grassroots in this country starts with local government. It starts with local authorities and stuff like that. Like grants for businesses over this, like the first COVID lockdown, you weren't applying to the government for it. You're applying to the local authority for it. They get their budgets, and they are like kind of, they're given these budgets, and they have to assign those budgets. Yeah. So anything like kind of grassroots, you have to go through your local authority for this. Like it's because it's pointless going. I mean, you can lobby Parliament for bigger matters, like kind of. I remember lobbying Parliament for changes in the way that the music union was like kind of was handled. But like for if something's shutting down, or if something's like kind of needs fixing, or there needs to be more like kind of leisure area for kids or whatever, you go to local authority, and the local authority are the people to make it happen. So day-to-day life, local government is so fucking important, man.
I was listening to like Destiny on YouTube.
Destiny Child, yeah, Beyonce and
just Destiny. It's called Destiny. This geezer, he like debates loads of people and stuff. And he was talking about, there's a book, I think it's called Politics and Power, or something. Okay. And he was talking about
Beyonce's biography.
Beyonce's biography.
No. So it was like this geezer, he was talking about... Huh?
Carry on.
So this geezer was talking about these young people in this area in America, and they were getting pissed off that they couldn't change anything and whatnot. So they started their own little political meetings and stuff. They learned how to do it. Like, you got to have the person who does the minutes, the treasurer, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And they started building, and they started getting more and more members. And then in the end, they took their proposals to get a vote, because they were pissed off that the old guard weren't letting them do anything, and were just like holding all the reins and not really changing stuff, to keeping the status quo. So then they managed, because they done all this grassroots work and everything, and they got all the young people. When they did their proposal and they had the vote on it, they managed to get loads of people, and the old guard people tried to counter them, but they could only get about 20 people to come on the day. But when they had the, the hands up vote in the local thing, so then they won, and then they started building on that and getting more and more bigger. So it was saying, like, you don't really know how much power you've got in these democracies that we're living in until you start really exercising it and then finding out how to do things and stuff like that. So
that's where democracy lives. It's totally where democracy lives. It lives in people power. Yeah. Like I mean, that's where the old People's Army kind of like theory comes from. The
power to the people.
The elephant.
Yeah, man. 5 ants kill the herd while the elephants sleep.
Yeah.
A great poet said that. I can't remember his name, but I think his name was Genesis Elijah.
Yeah.
Civil Unrest EP with beeswax out now somewhere. I don't know.
But back to Trump. Did you see that he got an endorsement from Lil Pump?
And who else? Lil Pump, Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne. Do you know what?
Yeah, he called him Little Pimp, didn't he?
Yeah, man. That's the funniest thing. Like, it's so stupid as well.
Peak 2020.
100%.
Like peak 2020.
Little Pimp. Do you know about him? He's a great superstar. What the fuck? Shut the fuck up, man. No one knows who he is. Like, you know what I mean? None of you don't know who he is. We barely know who he is. We don't even like him.
He hasn't had a tune for 3 years.
Nah.
Like, no one gives a fuck.
Not even in the slightest, man. And somebody said, you're worried about Trump you're worried about Biden taking your 10%, but you got the label taking 50% of everything you own. And then someone else said, you ain't got to worry about making over 400 grand, man. You ain't popping anymore. Like,
oh my God.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that, man.
What about 50 Cent? Didn't he endorse Trump as well, or was that?
Nah,
that's not true.
Nah, he just said some stuff. Like, I feel like a lot of people say things kind of like trolling or in them. You know what I mean? And it's just not like Lil Wayne. I don't take any stock in what Lil Wayne says, because I feel like Lil Wayne doesn't know what's going on. Apparently, his missus dumped him over that, innit? Like, he was with that model.
Something.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was riding harder for Black Lives Matter than he was. He was like, his reason for him not supporting Black Lives Matter was because when he shot himself in the leg, a white cop saved his life. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot, mate. You're an actual, like, that whole, anyway.
What can you do when this is the thing. Why do we look to celebrities to give endorsements on anything like black, white, whatever? They live
what
in
their social media, all their media following and all that, don't they? That's what the politicians.
they live in a completely sheltered world.
Yeah.
Like,
do you remember when New Labour? Do you remember New Labour when they came in? They had all the celebrities coming there doing Cool Britannia. Tony Blair had like Oasis and everyone coming into 10 Downing Street and all that kind of stuff. So it's been going on for a long time.
I understand it, but I feel like
it's like the grime for Corbyn thing, same kind of thing.
Yeah, but I like influences.
Right, for Corbyn, I can understand why. Like, I do think that was a bit like kind of it was somewhat exploitative in some ways, but at the same time, you've got all these grime artists who a lot of them are politicised. They're all intelligent. A lot of them are politicised, and they actually can see what like kind of the Tories have done to their local environments. I mean, you've got to be blind to not see that, like they're taking away resources, taking away youth centres and all this kind of stuff. Now, a lot of these guys, they will probably, they would have probably like appreciated that there was someone like that could represent them. So I do understand. It's the same as like kind of Oasis with Tony Blair. That obviously turned to shit, to be honest. But like, these guys are working class Mancunians who have probably been have sit. Well, you just go to Manchester or Liverpool and see what they think of the Tories up there. Like, if there was and that was the first Labour government in a generation. Like, so I can understand all of that, but
yeah, because like all of those areas have been like, when the National Lottery funding came in, that's when they got improved, didn't it? Like when you go to Newcastle and see all the docks there and all that stuff, and then Liverpool, the Liverpool docks buildings. Yeah. Same in Manchester.
The miners' strike, like in Manchester and up north, just like the miners' strike, and how Thatcher absolutely fucking destroyed the unions. Like that, she is hated. Like the Tories are hated, absolutely hated. Good boy.
This is the difference, yeah. If you're talking about grime for Corbyn, yeah, you're talking about grime artists, right?
Yeah.
Grime artists and UK rappers and UK artists that are from these places live in these places, right? So you can only really count like 5 grime millionaires. Like we're gonna get shaky as well. We're gonna go Wiley, we're gonna go Kano, then we start going Lethal B, and then we start getting shaky, right? So these are guys who, even with their big grime money, they're still not super rich.
No,
they're still normal people, and all their friends are normal people. When you're talking about somebody like Lil Wayne has been a millionaire since he was 14 years old. Lil Wayne's been making 40 million a year for the past 15 years. Yeah. He is not. There's no part of him, even though he raps about selling crack every day, he doesn't sell crack, and probably never sold crack. No. So him talking about a life that he never lived and endorsing somebody who pushes an ideal of a world that doesn't exist and will never exist makes perfect sense, because you're selling lies.
Sexualize fucking Black Lives Matter. Can't even like kind of go, yeah, I understand why that's. But and comes back with like, well, my life matters to my bitch. Like, that is. I mean, the same.
Is that what he said? Is that what he said? Oh my.
Yeah. So I'm going to go on the Kanye thing again, but Kanye's to a certain extent is like that now, where like to maybe like a less exaggerated extent, but he lives in a bubble. Like Lil Wayne just lives in a complete bubble of, and so does Kanye to a certain extent. He lives in his own little bubble, but I think he's a self-made bubble. Like Lil Wayne, he's just lived in a bubble, like Jen said, since he was 14.
Yeah, and you're not even
a clue what's going on.
It's like when all them celebrities sang that "Imagine" innit by John Lennon.
Yeah,
to try and cheer us all up in lockdown.
Because this is the thing. Yeah, this is the thing. So for our celebrities, we want them to entertain us. Yeah. And that's cool. But it's a different there's a different reverence to what celebrity means. So back in the day, a celebrity was a celebrity. A celebrity was a god. So somebody like Elvis somebody like anyone you want to mention from those eras,
Madonna,
you're a celebrity.
Michael Jackson.
But yeah, you're treated a totally different way, and you're respected in a totally different way. In our era, number one, what you've seen the media pull down celebrities. So now we understand. We love seeing celebrities fall, and we've seen the flip side of a celebrity. So we've seen celebrities like Jordan go from being the page 3 girl that everyone loves to being that total fuck up, and we can look at them and go, "Hi,
Jay Goody as well, isn't it? Remember Jay Goody?
Howl them till they die, yeah." And so now we really understand that celebrities really ain't shit, and we don't have the same reverence for a celebrity. So the idea of using celebrities to endorse, which comes from advertising, is still there. But the fact it don't hit the same, man. It don't really hit the same because we don't look at any celebrity like that. And even if we do, for instance, I could be a big Lil Wayne fan, a fan of his music, but the second I hear him say some shit like I don't agree with, he's not flipping me. I'm just getting rid of him. I feel like in the old days, you would have been like, wait, what? Lil Wayne, like, I mean, if I was younger.
You have to be of a certain mind state to think that way, because I think even back in the day, if Mr. T had said to me, like, if he had endorsed, I don't know, whatever, like smoking crack, I definitely wouldn't have smoked crack.
But, okay, you say this, yeah? Because that was my argument about to be, right? If Mr. T, when I was younger, had said to me, yo, Trump is the man, I wouldn't have known any different. So I would have been like, all right, cool. But you're not, we're old guys, innit? So obviously we're educated and informed to a certain degree. But I can still see where somebody like Little Pimp may have little fans that are like 13, 14 that may be swayed because they don't know what they're being. You know what I mean? So
what age can you vote in America? 18, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't. Yeah. Do you know what though? Even when you
then you'd have like, I mean, there are some like, are 18-year-olds that impressionable? I don't know. Yeah, I guess they are, aren't they? Maybe.
It's hard to say, man. I feel like at 18, I knew nothing about politics. Like, all I knew was fuck the government. That's what I knew. Right? I knew fuck the government, fuck the police. I didn't really know.
On the flip side of that, right? So if a celebrity, no matter how big they are, comes into the conversation, not a celebrity endorsement, but comes into the conversation and talks about politics and has a valid like kind of opinion or conversation about politics, that shouldn't be written off to the same token, I think, because just because someone's a celebrity doesn't mean that they can't, or because they're rich or whatever, doesn't mean that they can't have an opinion about whatever, about like kind of feeding the kids, or like, again, back to the Marcus Rashford thing, like just because they're a celebrity doesn't make their opinion on politics invalid either.
But see, this goes back to the Ice Cube thing, yeah? So for me, Ice Cube is probably the first rapper I was a fan of, yeah? Like, I love this guy as a rapper, right? So Ice Cube, I know a lot about the way he thinks because I've heard every single verse he's ever spat in his life, right? So there's a lot of stock in what he says. So when Ice Cube says, I'm doing this, I give him way more room than I would anybody else 100%. Because I understand his mind and what he's on. And even when he was doing his anti-Semitic rant business, yeah, on Twitter, remember that? He was going crazy, right, on all that. I was like, wait, okay, I thought he had got past all that, but if you kind of go back to his early stuff, that's on brand. Like, that's on brand for him. So that, to me, that's the only red flag. That's the bit that switched me off Ice Cube. It wasn't the other stuff before that. To me, it was that like going, "Rah, you're still on that? Okay, cool. Then I don't need to. I can't really jam with that anymore." So even someone who I really looked up to, when I started seeing that, I was just like, nah. But then when seeing him doing the Trump stuff, I'm just like, now I know you're never gonna go against the interest of black people. Like I feel like that's something that Ice Cube would never do. So whatever he's doing.
What was that platinum package though? Was it? From my understanding, I didn't really look too much into it. I was aware that he was talking to Trump, but is it not linked to reparations?
It might be. I don't know.
I'll Google it now, innit? Hold on.
We're about to be informed. We're going to be informed. Our
researcher,
researcher and correspondent,
Drax the Destroyer, is about to Google it.
No, I'm Jamie, man. I'm Jamie.
Which one are you?
Jamie, innit? Off Joe Rogan, so Jamie. I'm
you're,
Jamie.
You're the Jamie, yeah? All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
You're half Jamie, half Drax the Destroyer.
Yeah?
And
Yeah.
Carl Pilgrim.
Flat in,
Yeah. One quarter, half Drax, half Jamie,
and half.
Carl Pilgrim.
oh, you're deep, man.
The math don't have to add up.
Okay.
So what's he say? What's my man on?
One sec.
I could be completely wrong about that. Again, getting my information from my Facebook timeline.
Twitter. Oh no, you're Facebook, man. Isn't it?
I'm a Facebook man.
I can't be Facebook,
crap,
man. Facebook's mad.
It's got detailed proposals on reparations. Yeah. It says, while Ice Cube's CWBA is a substantial document loaded with detailed proposals on reparations and black representation in government and industry, the Platinum Plan is a leaflet packed with vague commitments and promises covering housing, criminal justice, black-owned businesses, jobs, education, religious freedom, healthcare, and more. Like so many Trump announcements, it is both wildly ambitious and remarkably sloppy. The plan lumps Antifa into its commitment to prosecute the KKK as a terrorist organization and seems to refer to second chance homeowners as second change sick homecomers. Whoops. So yeah, it's a bit weird.
Okay, but then I'm like, you could iron things out. It's a first draft, isn't it? It's a first draft.
Yeah.
Again, Ice Cube wrote rhymes for Dre, man. Come on, you must be able to rap some stuff. You know what I mean? Right.
But the thing about Ice Cube is he's never really been off-brand. Even when he was making Disney films and stuff like that, he's never really been off-brand. Like he's never really interrupted his core message. And some of that, unfortunately, is like kind of pretty anti-Semitic. But
do you feel like
we've known that about him for a long time?
Do you feel it's kind of going off topic a little bit, but kind of not. So the other day, I was listening to this different album. I listened to some Busta, then I listened to some West Side Gun, and then I listened to the Jay Electronica album.
It's fucking sick, the Jay Electronica album. That's so sick, man.
It is sick.
Love it.
But like, I feel like on every single one of them, there's bare like kind of Nation of Islam speeches, 5% stuff kind of pushed in. Do you feel like that's a trend in hip hop? And do you feel like that's a kind of like I don't want to say a dangerous trend, but it just seems to be like it's one of the things you got to keep an eye on.
What, the anti-Semitism?
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends if it gets like if they're talking more like if it's individualist based or if it's like blanket brushing people with this, and then started becoming like nationalism, like on like Trump's level of nationalism or whatever, or what's that guy who helped Trump, Steve Bannon level of nationalism and stuff like that, and then going over into Hitler's level of nationalism.
Because I really look at things
like that, then obviously it's bad, isn't it?
Because I look at things like I listen to that kind of stuff and I'm just like, obviously it doesn't affect me. Obviously it doesn't affect me. It's not supposed to offend me. But then I was looking at it from the flip side, like if there was say like there was a genre of music here, and this genre of music had views that may not like, because I feel like that part of it as well, they don't really push like the anti-Semitism part, which does exist within actually no, I don't want to say it like that, man. The anti-Zionist part does exist within the kind of the narrative of Nation of Islam.
I think we framed this slightly wrong, because I don't think any of that comes like, especially when it comes to the 5% like nation and stuff like that.
5% slightly different. It's a bit, I know what you're, but see, but it kind of does go together in a little way. But say what you're gonna say, and I'll come back.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say that I think there's it's inherently part of like the anti-Zionism is inherently part of, and I mean, you can make your own mind up on what you think anti-Zionism kind of represents to the individual who's talking about it. But I think it's 5%. I think that there's like Louis Farrakhan and stuff like that. I think that he gets tarred with the brush of anti-Semitism when he is actually anti-Zionist.
Yeah, I get that as well. I understand that, and I've seen things like that. But I just think like the 5%. Like I love the majority of what the 5% has pushed. But I always also feel sometimes I don't know, man. I feel uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable in myself. Like I'm cool with it, but I just feel like from an outsider's point of view, I'm just like, wow. Would people be offended by that? Like,
yeah, I question myself.
What do they say? This that could offend people, but I'm not.
The black man is God. The black man is God. The black man is God. The white people come from the Caucasus Mountain, the caves.
Who's the guy that made the white man?
Yakub.
I don't know. Yakub.
Yakub.
It come from the caves.
I've been listening to that since. I mean, I might be a slightly different case, but I've been listening to that from the time. I've never been offended at that. Like I've never been offended at the idea that
I knew one guy who was sending me all the stuff on Facebook. This is a white dude, and he actually believes in that. He thinks he was created by Yakub.
See, this is the maddest part of it, yeah.
He listened to all that stuff, and
the only 5% that I know, yeah, like proper 5%er is a white guy.
Yeah.
How can he be a white guy?
He's a white guy, man. He's a white guy, and he was like, I remember one time we were on like his tour bus, and he was breaking down the mathematics, man. He was just like hitting me with all his knowledge and stuff. I was just like, the fuck?
Did he come up to you and shout, "What's today's mathematics, God?"
Like
that? You didn't know. So
pretty much.
The face.
Like pretty much, man. It was deep. He had like the books and everything, and he was like breaking it down. And it's I don't know, man.
I can safely say that he's completely missed the point there.
Nah, but you might have what's it called? You might have a black guy in the clan, innit? A black guy like be like
Clarence.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but the 5%, the 5% stuff. I mean, when you got Nation of Islam, it's more like kind of. I don't want to use the word doctrine, but it's doctrine based. So like it's very like kind of like organised. There's an organised like kind of scene going through the middle of it, which can be seen as anti-Semitic. I've always seen it as more anti-Zionist.
But do they say like racist epithets against Jewish people in those songs?
Nah.
No. It never gets that blatant.
They say, all Jews are like Jews.
But
the 5% stuff is more street based. It's more like kind of street culture based because that's exactly what it was. Like Clarence 13X took the book to the street, and that's what created 5%ers. So there's like, if you listen to someone like, even like, because Jay Electronica is a 5%er, isn't he? But like he's like an official tissue, like kind of 5%er. But like he does talk about Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam, Fruit of Islam quite a lot and stuff like that. So it's like kind of a mixed message in that album. So there's different influences coming from all over the place. Like, but I mean, he talks about the Rothschilds on that album a fair amount.
He's married to a Rothschild.
Yeah, because he was dating, or like he was married to one of the Rothschild like daughters. It's a bit of a. I mean, I think it's just it's culture cherry picking. Like
100%.
And it's all being pulled into this thing with fucking banging beats like that Ghost of Soldier Slim tune. I lose my head every time I hear it. But yeah, it's a hard one to call because yes, there's a definite like kind of backbone of that in his music, but how much of it do you pull out and take offence from? Like, because
like the New Wabians as well, isn't it? Like
kind of, yeah. But
Malachi York, I remember.
But this is different.
Yeah. But the example I'm going for is like when he said that white people only live to 65 years old because they were created by lizard aliens to be food.
Fair enough.
and stuff like that. So I was like, well,
my nan's 74, mate. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I was like, well,
That's a whole different thing. I feel like hip hop, and the 5% Nation go hand in hand.
You can't separate them.
I feel like hip hop is like. I feel like the 5% is almost the foundation. We use the word cipher, like, and people don't.
So much of it, like so much of it is connected. Like
B-boy stance.
Hip hop. It's not even like 5% came from hip hop. Hip hop, to a large extent, came from 5%. It was like in the 80s, the crack epidemic, 5% and hip hop. Like that is what created what we know now. It definitely New York hip hop, but 100% like kind of hip hop outside New York as well. Like there's no two ways about it. You cannot have the hip hop that I love anyway. You cannot have the two separated in any way, shape, or form.
Rakim Allah, man.
Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Busta Rhymes, Wu-Tang Clan, just everything is good. And even if you weren't in the 5%, you were influenced. You had gods on the corner, building on the corner every time that you went outside your house. Like I'm from Watford. Like I don't know this. It's just the amount. It's the amount of like kind of books and interviews that I've heard about this. You cannot separate the two. So is that somewhat of an issue that is such a deep scene inside hip hop that there is a seam of anti-Semitism / anti-Zionism, whichever way.
If you're talking about anti-Zionism, then I see it as you're talking about the policies of Zionism.
100%, yeah.
I don't think that's a problem because that's a political, that you're not being racist against a race. You're talking about someone's politics, their policies and stuff.
100%.
I don't think
when that spills over into like kind of when that spills over into the like kind of Jewish Americans who own property and run banks and stuff like that, when that becomes a topic within the music,
it's such a weird dynamic, you know.
Like if they're saying it if they're saying it's some nefarious conspiracy and they're not looking at people as individuals and they're blanketing tarring everyone with the same brush and blah 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 blah, then yeah, that's a problem. But if they're not doing that, then no.
It's super weird, yeah. Like, so basically, the connection between America, Black America, and Jewish America, and hip hop is actually nuts, because when you break it down and you look at, like, again, the birth of hip hop becoming, I guess, hip hop making money and becoming
a business.
Yeah, like Jewish people play a massive part in that.
The same with jazz though as well, isn't it? In jazz, same thing.
But hip hop, that just absolutely exploded in hip hop. Like you got like kind of Jewish label owners, Jewish lawyers, Jewish, and like Leo Cohen, for example, an Israeli who made all of his money and became like one of the biggest record execs in the world at Def Jam, with an entirely black roster, apart from third base at the time. Like there's plenty. The history of the two in that context is so interconnected as well.
I never liked third base.
No, I don't. I fucking hate MC Serge.
You know, it's funny, yeah. So,
why do you hate him? What did he do?
He's such a cunt.
I thought, isn't he the guy who put Nas on though?
He did some really tough. He's like a proper hip hop head. Like he put third base on. He put OC on. He didn't discover any of these people, but he's the ones that sorted out like their contracts and stuff like that. But Ill Bill and like what was it band called?
Cage and
Non-fiction.
For real.
Like that. Like, so he's a proper hip hop head. I've always rated him as an MC. He's good. He rates himself a bit too much though. But in the last like kind of, I'm so pleased I'm getting a chance to talk about this, because every time I hear him talk, it just annoys the absolute living piss out of me. Like he for the last like 15 years, his entire thing has been that Hammer tried to kill him.
Did he? What did you do to Hammer, man? What did you do to Hammer?
So there was this their second album. I think they did it on the first album. There's a track on maybe it was it's Step Into the AM or something like that. I mean, they made all right music. They were just like Russell Simmons signed them because they wanted another Beastie Boys, basically. Russell Simmons has said that multiple times, like it's not a secret or whatever. So they said one of the lyrics, it wasn't even searched. Like I think Pete Nice said, the Cactus, which is their first album, it's called the Cactus album. The Cactus turned your mother out. Hammer, the Cactus turned your mother out, because Hammer's first album or second album or whatever it was called Turn This Mother Out. So Hammer took that as a diss towards his mother. And
Hammer's not the one to mess with, you know.
No, I think MC Serch realised that as well. But like, MC Serch is walking around nowadays saying he's got post-traumatic stress disorder because Hammer tried to have him killed. So apparently there was this whole thing. They went to LA and blah blah blah. Like they took like Hammer took a hit out with Mike Concepcion. You know, like he was like the head guy of the Crips. And like Leo Cohen and Russell Simmons and all that kind of stuff had to promise Mike Concepcion that he could sit next to Michael Jackson at the Oscars or wherever it was, and they would release or help release his all-in-one, all in the same gang release that had like Hammer and Tone Loc and all this kind of stuff. It was his tune that he put together. So like he like kind of stopped the hit on MC Serch in third base, but for years afterwards, that was the story. That every time MC Serch, he's just a fucking talking head on. But did you hear about the thing he did a little while ago, where he reckons that Leo Cohen, like Rakim, asked Leo Cohen to ask MC Serch to ghostwrite for him?
Yeah, that's a lie. I saw Rakim was like, "Are you crazy?
Are you fucking mad? Like the God MC, are you like, even if that was true, which is not, even if it was true, shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, that's
that didn't happen, number one. Like, and like that all came out. MC Serch was talking about it on some podcast, a news, like hip hop news channel picked it up. Like Rakim was asked about it by Lord Sia, and Rakim goes, "No disrespect to MC Serch, but if he says that again, I'm going to knock him out." Like,
you know what's funny, man? It's funny, yeah. Like, I've got a few points to make. So when I was told a story about when I first got into hip hop. Like, it was Ice Cube's album, America's Most Wanted. So I had on cassette. It was my uncle's cassette. He also had a cassette of Third Base, and I played that once, thought it was a load of shit, and then just went back to Ice Cube. So like, I've never I can remember being in my nan's spare room, seeing the Third Base cassette, and like all my uncle had was hip hop, and being like, oh shit, hip hop, putting it in and being like, no, not playing that. And I didn't know nothing about them, didn't know what they looked like, who they were. I was like, this is not for me. Back to Ice Cube. But,
yeah.
It's funny, like all these old rappers, yeah, especially someone like MC Hammer, who was a pop star at the time. Like, he was a gangster.
Yeah.
That one about Redman. You seen where Redman talks about it?
No, we Redman said,
don't fuck with Hammer. He was saying, don't fuck with Hammer at all.
Yeah.
Like, MC Serch is so full of shit. Going back to Ice Cube, like, I was listening to a podcast with him the other day, and I think it was on the Champs as well. I think it was on the Champs podcast, because that's the one where Neil Brennan said to him, I fucking hate all white rappers. Like MC Serch was telling this story about Ill Bill again, like not Ill Bill, Bushwick Bill. Like,
oh shit.
Completely like kind of snitching on Bushwick Bill as well. I don't like him as well, because he was fully snitching on him about something that I'm not going to mention on air, because I'm not going to talk about his head. But like, MC Serch going, oh yeah, and then this happened and then that happened, and then Neil Brennan came in and goes, that's when I jumped in the middle of the cypher and broke out the best white rap of all time, and said, you can listen to that episode, man, it's fucking killer. But like, MC Serch was on there saying that Ice Cube came to New York because he loved their Derelict Dialect album so much that he wanted to make America's Most Wanted like Derelict Dialect. It's like, what are you doing, man?
No,
pick up on that.
He came there to work with the Bomb Squad.
Yeah, so apparently he came to New York to work with Sam Sever. Sam Sever's a sick producer. He did like kind of their second album. Prince Paul did their first, and then Sam Sever did their second. And Sam Sever's fucking ridiculous. I don't know if you've ever heard Uptown Science. but like Sam Sever and another guy, I think Bosco Money was Uptown Science. But yeah, he said he loved the Derelicts of Dialect album so much that he came to New York to meet Sam Sever. Sam Sever never turned up. And then just all of a sudden, Ice Cube and Chuck D walked in and said, "Oh, we're recording Burn Hollywood Burn round the corner. Come and get on it." And that's how he hooked up with the Bomb Squad. Oh. MC Dutch is so full of shit, man. He writes himself into all this amazing hip hop history.
You know, the mad thing is on that America's Most Wanted album, the tunes I like best on it are the ones that are produced by Sir Jinx, isn't it? The West Coast.
Sir Jinx is sick.
They're the ones I like best. The Bomb Squad tunes, I don't think they're as good as the Sir Jinx tunes on there. Like, you know, Once Upon a Time in the Projects and all those different ones there. That's the ones that are by Sir Jinx, I thought were way better than all the others. They suited Ice Cube better, I thought, as well.
I think at that time, though, that Bomb Squad sound, like with, I think that was, what Public Enemy album was that? That was, what's the one that...
Takes a Nation of Millions.
Takes a Nation of Millions.
That was before that. That was 87, wasn't it? Then what's the one that Burn Hollywood Burn? Isn't that on the?
What's the one with Burn Hollywood Burn and Fight the Power on?
Is it Fear of a Black Planet?
Fear of a Black Planet. It was that Bomb Squad. So that was an acquired taste, man. That was that. Right. I listen to it now. I listen to both those albums now, like Fear of a Black Planet and America's Most Wanted. And I have to be in the mood to listen to them because it's so noisy.
They're really noisy, man. There's just so much going on. It's like you're being attacked.
Yeah.
You know what? It's funny, man. I was kind of thinking about how hip hop sounds change, like, and not just like instrument wise or samples wise, but just sonically, like how much music has changed and how much the sound changes. And we're in like a really weird place here. Like we've been in the kind of the trap era for 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's like, what comes next? Like, where's the next bit go? Like,
the drill pattern, innit? The drill pattern.
I don't really, because to me that's a sub. That's like when Southern hip hop. It's like, and I don't mean Southern hip hop as in like, which is the trap sound now. I mean like the sound before. So I mean like Manny Fresh. So it's like there was a time where stuff was popping, but that still wasn't the main sound. There's no apart from Pop Smoke, there ain't no drill tracks in the chart. You get me? So it's still the main stuff. If you go on Rap Caviar, the main stuff is still that trap sound.
Yeah.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. I'm listening to Drake, Take Care, the other night. I couldn't sleep, man, so I listened to Drake. Yeah. And I was like, wow, there's no trap sounds. There's no trap on this album.
No.
This was the last time that Drake was on this kind of time, man, this kind of sound. But
yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like, because you get albums, like big albums nowadays. Like, so much of that Busta Rhymes album is like verified boom bap hip hop. Like, so much of it. Like, but he sounds so good over that trap stuff.
Yeah, but I think he's an alien. I mean, he can do what he wants. But I think
what he wants. Like, I was listening to the Shabba Ranks remix earlier, like the ASAP Ferg Shabba Ranks, and his verse on that is. It's a level above. Like you say, he's an alien. Like, I don't know, like just the vocal edits as well. Like, not even his flow, but the edits that he's put in there afterwards.
Yeah. But I feel like that is something new, and I feel like he's not got that from. But if you talk about vocal edits or how you process your vocals, what you add to it, Kendrick Lamar is the brother of that shit. Like the stuff he's doing, and you know who used to do that as well, way before. Sway, man. Sway used to do that as well.
Yeah, of course.
Like, I guess I don't know. I'm not saying that Kendrick Lamar stole Sway's sauce, but I'm saying that Kendrick Lamar somehow has stolen Sway's sauce. Because Sway was the first one doing all that, chopping bits up, adding bits.
That's forward-thinking rappers. Like, that's totally forward-thinking rappers. Like, that's rappers using technology to make their art form, like, kind of, like, to make that art form shine a tiny little bit more. But we had this conversation before, how I absolutely love Kendrick Lamar, obviously, but I prefer Cole. And not to put them off against each other, but I prefer Cole purely because it's him by himself and he sounds so much less produced.
100%.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I had this conversation as well the other day. I can't remember who it was with, but it was like, the reason why, it was with Blizzard. If you go on this channel right now. You can check it out, the interview I did with Blizzard on last Friday. And we're talking about how J. Cole, he's one of them rappers, yeah, who produces his own music and does everything himself. And when you do everything yourself, it's always going to sound not as produced as when you have someone like Kendrick Lamar who has a team for each song. So you're not talking about, I got a beat maker and I'm writing bars. You're talking about we have a string section, we have a drum section, we have beat makers,
a top writer. You got
So you got so much, all that. So I guess it just sounds different, and it's funny because at the end of the day, you're going to do all that, but it's funneled through the same place. Everyone goes on Spotify, wherever you hear it, and you listen to it the same way. And you'll probably get similar plays and similar views and whatever. But at the end of the day, that check goes back to J. Cole. And all J. Cole has to do is cut his manager in and he's sorted. All that money's his. So whereas Kendrick has a little bit more to deal with. But then it's like, well, what do you want? And it's funny that you then say you prefer J. Cole sound.
See, but the thing I'm coming from as a 43-year-old bloke who listened to vinyl and piece shit like cassettes, and that's the like and like albums like Black Moon Enter the Stage, where you could actually hear people farting on it and stuff like that. Like it sounded like shit. Like the Enter the 36 Chambers sounds sonically sounds like shit, but the RZA didn't really get like his sonic chops up until maybe like Liquid Swords, like
I guess so.
Where is it done where you can hear people walking in the studio and saying hi and everything in the background and all that kind of stuff?
Every hip hop made between like 91.
the whole of 36 Chambers, all those ones where it's like Sons of Man or something. Some of the early cuts where he's like, they won't be too bothered.
But that's what I mean. Like, I like underproduced music. I'm not this person that appreciates, and I respect it, and I appreciate it to a certain extent. But I'm not this person that wants overproduced music. I want it to sound like it's being played on a fucking Tandy cassette player in a drain. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to feel that filth in the music.
Well, that kind of lo-fi vibe.
I love lo-fi stuff.
I love all that shit as well, man.
See, I really appreciate overproduced music. Yeah. And I try my best to make it, but I'm a shit producer, so it all sounds fucking shit. That's why Terry does my stuff, man.
That's why I'm still into you. When you get that bag and you get that producer team in, I'm out. Like, I'm done.
Do you think that, like, you know that the auto-tune thing, do you think that's got a shelf life, or do you think that's becoming an art form unto itself?
I don't think that's even a question anymore. I think it's just part of music.
Yeah,
and like the guitar has a shelf life. I just think it's a valid part of music now.
And what about what about Afro swing and all that? Do you think that's going to cross over to America and stuff like that?
It has already. Like Burna Boy's had the #1 album. Like do you know what? Like, if we're talking all genres this year, the Burna Boy album might be my favorite album. I haven't heard the Wizkid album, but the Burna Boy album might be my favorite album. I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about on most of the songs, but like sonically and just the way it sounds, the way it feels to me was like, that's my shit, man.
Do you think that'll be the next thing from trap? Then you think
it could be like it could be. Yeah, man. I think like even saying about auto-tune, I think like everything evolves in it, and I think you're kind of even now, like, I'm an auto-tune addict. I love auto-tune. I love the sound of it. I love everything about it. But even now on certain songs, I'm turning it down a little bit. And
I'm noticing a lot of people are doing it more subtle now, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's something I never thought I would do. But it's just getting to the point where I'm like, it doesn't... Actually, do you know what? Like I just said before about hi-hats. It's like hi-hats. It's just another instrument. It's like drums, boom, boom, boom. Sometimes you don't need it. Sometimes you're like, oh, do you know what? I actually don't need an 808 bass on this song. Sometimes you don't actually need it. And it's kind of getting to the point where you become, as a producer, you become a mature producer where you're like, you know what? Yes, I can dunk every time, but I don't have to dunk every time. I can do a layup. or I might do. You know what I mean? And that's when you start seeing.
But being an achieved producer is about understanding subtleties and like kind of and somewhat negative space as well. Like knowing that you don't have to chuck absolutely everything into every single track every time you make it.
Yep.
Like and understand it, and especially being like someone who's a vocalist and a producer as well. Understanding that space that you need to leave for yourself for you to best be able to. I can't remember. Oh, I was listening to an interview with Diamond D the other day. Again, taking it back to boom bap. But I was listening to like legendary hip hop producer Diamond D from DITC, and digging in the crates, man. And like one of the things that he said was, producers, no matter if they're the best rapper in the world or not, if they're a rapper producer, every single time, whenever there's someone else on the track, they're going to ride that track. Not necessarily like from a lyricist point of view, but they're going to flow on that track if they've got the ability to do it better than their guest, because they understand that beat and they've made that beat for them to flow over the top of. You
say that, but I got killed by Manga. Oh, I can't even say that because no one's even heard the Manga verse, man. Manga killed me on my track, man. Like,
yeah, but Manga's ridiculous.
He's just, this guy, man, he's something different. It's upsetting. It's upsetting to hear what he does to tunes.
That's like Pete Rock, yeah. Whenever he always used to have the sample, on the hook and on the intro, and then when the rapper's on there, he puts the filter on the sample, so it kind of is more in the background. So then you're focused on the rapper, innit?
Classic filtered bass lines, man. That's where they're like they're still like it's not a Pete Rock tune. It's a Q-Tip one, but the first Crooklyn Dodgers. Like people still don't know what that filtered bass line is. Like Q-Tip took that, filtered it down. What is it? The SP1200s had the filters on that, like kind of that allowed producers to just take a bass line or take whatever, put the filters on, and that's where that 90s sound came from. And that's what I mean about that warm, dirty sound. Like that's what you get with like these filtered bass lines and these like kind of dirty drums sitting over the top of it.
It's cold, man. It's cold. I think I love hearing like I thought you got frozen then. I was like, wait, did they freeze? No, still there. I love hearing like artists doing or producers doing things they don't normally do. So like when you hear like Primo or Alchemist or someone like DJ Mustard make a beat and you're like, wait, you did that? Like that's a beautiful thing, man. And I think that shows.
Mustard is I fucking love Mustard, man. I love Mustard as well because it's a pure vibe thing with Mustard.
Yeah.
Like I was listening to an interview with him and he's like not a trained musician or anything like that, and he literally just got into making beats, and his first few beats were just absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like who was it? It was YG, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
that he came up with, and he was just making beats for YG and like on a piece of shit PC, like didn't really have any training whatsoever, and just turned out absolute bangers and like created an entire new sound in hip hop.
Yeah, man. Him and them, like I like that. I think as well that kind of tells you this what sound's gonna come next, or the predominant sound. And I think that's the thing at the moment. We don't really have like a producer who's really leading the pack. So we kind of had the Primo era, Large Professor, Pete Rock. We had that era. Then we had like Dr. Dre come through with kind of changing the sound. Kanye West,
Neptunes,
Just Blaze, Neptunes, like massive. Yeah. So people like Missy Elliott, Timbaland, Jesus, come on. Like,
have you heard that album by Above the Law though? That Dr. Dre's made of copy.
Nah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I remember that because
it's mad, isn't it? Like if you listen to like a lot of the samples on the Chronic, the first one, they've used them on their album.
What was his name? It was 187 Kill 'Em or something like that, wasn't it?
Cold 187, isn't it?
Cold 187, yeah. Because he's been really vocal about that, saying that he basically invented G-Funk and then...
I was thinking, nah, it can't be. And then I went and listened to it. And I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Well, yeah, man.
Listen, man.
Yeah.
Good artist still. No, where's it? Good artist borrow, great artist still.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Dre's a great artist.
Crazy. Yeah, Drake's like the best artist in the world.
Even a bit, you know, on even a bit on that Snoop does when he's like, I'm not lagging, but I'm just learning. Da, 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 da. Even that bit that Snoop does, yeah, on this tune. Above the Law done it on their tune.
Yeah.
Or on literally the same beat. And it's like, wow. You're like,
Crazy, innit?
Oh man, that's actually crazy.
bro, I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Nah, man, my man must be pissed. Like, fucking mad, isn't it?
They probably thought, innit, like, oh, there's no internet.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
no one's gonna know. Like, who would, like, unless you're from the area, how are you gonna know if someone stole your music?
True. I mean, the way Dre did it though, his sound on the Chronic is way more cleaner. It's more stripped down.
Yeah.
So it just sounds more like what we were just talking about for the rappers and that. Whereas Above the Law one, it had a lot of elements in there that kind of like
super busy.
Yeah, it's maybe a bit more busy. But like 187, he's done some loads of good beats for other rappers on Ruthless and stuff like that. So yeah, he's a sick producer as well. And like I was reading another thing that was saying about Eazy-E at the time, he didn't want to use Dre to do beats because of his court cases and that, like with D Barnes, how beat up D Barnes and whatnot. And that's why he started more using Cold 187 and then flipping Rhythm D and certain other people like that. So that's another reason why Dre was feeling to just bounce in it and Suge could persuade him easier. So a bit of a mad one, man.
I don't know what I'd do if someone stole my beats.
Yeah.
Probably chase him down.
Well, I don't know. There was a whole like kind of. I can't really remember what the discussion was, but I'm sure I saw it on Vlad TV. Well, this is another thing that we should have talked about earlier. The whole Vlad TV thing at the moment.
What's that number? I've seen that his name pop up on.
Oh, he sued someone, didn't it? He sued someone, then he's successful.
No, he's being like Lord Jamar has turned against him. Like everybody's turning against him because he misquoted Louis Farrakhan.
Oh,
what did he say that? So what was the misquote?
So I can't. Do you know what? I'm getting into this, and I can't actually remember what the quote was. But he basically misquoted Louis Farrakhan to make him sound anti-Semitic, and then refused to apologise for it. And then, like, it was my son that was talking to him about it.
Yeah.
And my son was going, look, I respect a man who stands by his morals. But then, I can't remember. Like, it's just pointless conversation because I can't remember what it was. But basically, it came out that he had misquoted him and he refused to apologise for that. I can't. Do you know what? I can't remember. Do you know what? I can't remember. But basically,
I find that annoying anyway, man. I find it,
yeah. Either way,
he never knows what he's talking about. He always like gets everything wrong. Like all the stuff he talks about, all the
he just tries to bait people up all the time.
Yeah. And all he ever asks people about is their criminal past.
Yeah, do you see when Giggs was on there?
Yeah, and same with Wiley as well. And everyone, like all he goes, like even the people in the comments can see through how bait it is. Like they're all just like, Vlad gets a new rapper on. First thing he asks is, "Oh, have you ever been shot or stabbed or or have you ever been in jail?" It's just like, come on, man. Like,
he was trying to ask Giggs about like his time in prison and his history with guns and all that kind of stuff. And then Giggs just turned around and goes, "Are we not going to talk about my music? I don't want to talk about all that."
Yeah,
like
good on him, man.
Good on him.
That's good.
So this is from Warren Muhammad, and he says, while greatly benefiting from black and hip hop culture, Vlad is on code with the enemies of the black community. Vlad deliberately lied on Minister Farrakhan, claiming that he is advocating violence. We demand a public apology. And then Vlad was like, no, I'm not saying nothing. So then everyone's like, this is what I'm saying as well. I feel like now in the hip hop community, everyone is aligned with, people know where their allegiances stand, and no one's going against Farrakhan.
No one's going against Farrakhan.
No, hell no.
In history,
Farrakhan's done a lot of good things for you know, when rappers are beefing and that.
100%.
He's made them have sit downs and squash shit and all this kind of stuff. Like even when Ice Cube was beefing with his cousin Cam, innit? Farrakhan, I think Cam says that Farrakhan got him to have a sit down and talk about it and squash it and all that kind of stuff. So he does a lot of good things as well.
And Vlad does a lot of bad things. So
yeah, exactly. Vlad does a lot of bad things. Like, I mean, you can probably find some history of Farrakhan doing or saying in recent times something you don't agree with. But on the whole, what Farrakhan is interested in is the upliftment and the protection of black people in America.
Yeah. I think that's the point, isn't it? I think this is like the era that we're in at the moment. I think that's the bit that has to be, we need to always be focused on, is like what's the intention of the person talking? Like what are they here to do? And that kind of takes us full circle, yeah? Because I feel like with Trump, his intentions were never good.
No.
I never felt like, even the people that he says he's on their side, I always feel like
he's not on their side
either. Like,
you're saying about we're going to get all these jobs back that have gone to China and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, no, he's never been like this.
How? You can't do that. Where are you getting these jobs back from China?
What was the industry? I can't remember. It was like the steel industry or the coal industry or whatever it was that he was saying that he was going to bring all the jobs back and stuff like that. When they know that the legislation in America has banned that industry because it's so bad for the environment or whatever, but it just wasn't profitable anymore. Again, my fucking old man brain is letting me down, but basically he lied to an entire industry of people and said that he was going to reinvigorate the industry all the time, knowing that he couldn't, and that's how he got his votes. And so someone like Trump, he's in it for himself, his celebrity, his bank account, his own grandiose vision of himself. Well, I don't think Farrakhan is. Not that I can even compare Farrakhan and Trump, to be honest. But if we're looking at someone like Farrakhan, I genuinely believe that his only intention of absolutely everything he does is the upliftment of his own people. And that's why it can be seen as black nationalism. That's why it can be seen
the thing, like, I remember there was, because you know he plays the violin, innit, Farrakhan, yeah? And he was playing he
was a musician before he became before he was a singer and a musician, wasn't he?
He was playing a concert, and I think it's a concerto by Felix Mendelssohn, and Mendelssohn was Jewish. So if he hates Jews that much, then why would he be picking out that?
Nah, but you can't say that, because I've seen Trump sit with black people. I've seen Trump do bare stuff.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's the thing, man. That's another thing as well. Like,
that's true.
We have to always have to look past what's in the front, what's the screen that's being put up.
Yeah, because if you were cynical, you'd be saying, Farrakhan's only playing that piece to try and show that he's not anti-Semitic, innit? Yeah,
and I think it's like, we got to look at things in the big picture. I feel like, we need to get to a place here where we really start looking at grey areas. We need to stop everything being binary, like, this person's good, this person's bad, this is bad. Yeah. It's like, we need to get to a point where it's like, no, you know what? Let's start listening to people. Let's start talking to people. Let's start looking at, I hate to get religious. I'm not religious, but they say, you will know them by their fruit. Like, what are you doing? What are they producing? Like, what happens? So we look at somebody like Trump and what happened. Riots happened. Shit got fucked up because that's the fruit that came, man. Like, that's what, if you keep, you know what I mean? You reap what you sow. But, and again, this whole thing, Obama is not Jesus. Like, he did some fucked up things as well. But again, it's like, you need to have that space. Where do we get that space where we can say, do you know what? Trump is an absolute knob jockey, but that thing he did was all right. Obama was, you know what I mean? He was the man, but that thing he did was fucked up.
Yeah.
And start having honest conversations about things that happen.
I think it's coming. I hope so, man.
Even
if you watch TV and everything, a lot of TV programs, like if you're saying that what's on TV and in our media that our entertainment is our like zeitgeist and everything. You've got more and more characters that are morally like in the grey. Like they'll do some good things and they'll do some bad things, innit? So maybe like it is coming where it will be like that.
Yeah, morality though as well at the same time, like morality differs between groups and between people, between individuals and between groups. Like, so what is moral to like pro-choice, if we're talking about abortion, for example, which is a big moral issue, what's moral to someone who's pro-choice and what's moral to someone who's pro-life? That morality changes between people and groups. So like, I think that there's always going to be sticking points no matter what you do. You just have to you have to examine what the bigger intention is, what the macro is rather than the micro. And if we're always going to like kind of focus on what this person did, like I don't know, like it's very easy to pull like kind of, I don't know, Bill Cosby or someone like that out of the deck of cards and say like what he has done in the last like kind of like 20 years before like he got convicted. I mean, I don't doubt that he probably raped someone. I don't know. Like I just going by like what I know is correct.
Has he actually been done?
He's in prison.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in prison. He'll probably live the rest of his days in prison.
He's been jailed for time.
But at the same time, like what he was trying to do before that was build like a kind of a network, a TV network for to empower black people, to empower black artists and stuff like that. So I don't think anybody on this planet is wholly good or wholly bad, wholly moral or wholly immoral. Like everybody's got their views on. I mean, I know that certain views of mine are very disagreeable to people that I really get along with, that I do actually like genuinely love, like the people that I really like. But I know that some of the things that I believe in are not the things that they believe in, and the things they're wholly morally against. I'm not going to get into what they are, but it's mostly me being a bit like kind of militant on certain things and beliefs in my life. But that doesn't mean that I can't share some kind of middle ground with them. And I think that we write people off, and especially like kind of politicians, but I mean, most politicians are corrupt as fuck anyway, like, but it's what I was saying the other week about why do people have to be likable to be effective? Like people don't have to be likable, like certain things about them don't have to be likable for them to be effective. Now, I don't think that Trump is particularly effective in any kind of big way. But I'm sure there's people out there that think he's very effective. If Trump had been effective and I didn't like him, I would be less vocal about how much I hate him. Because he's a fucking prick. But if he had actually been, if that platinum card or whatever he was talking about earlier, like had actually come into effect and there had been some kind of real reparations for black people in America, I'd be like, yeah, ticking the positive box for him. Even if he'd still been convicted as a rapist, which is a very real like kind of possibility that at some point in the future, now that he's out of the White House, that could happen.
What do you think about all the people saying about Joe Biden being a pedo and all that? They're just saying.
What's the proof of that? I don't know, but what's the proof of that? Because he's
all I've seen some video on Facebook and he's just like hugging kids and stuff at White House dinners or whatever and giving them a kiss on the cheeks or just kiss.
Does that make him a pedo then?
I don't know. This is what I'm saying, like, because you know, in some cultures, people will do that, don't they? Some people, that's their culture. They'll give people kisses on the cheek or they'll hug little kids or whatever the fuck. So I don't know.
I don't know.
What I'll say. Yeah, this is what I'll say. Again, yeah, it's like this whole thing of like everything's binary. Nothing's like there's never any context and stuff. Me personally, I watched that Joe Biden video and I was like, nah, he's a fucking creep, innit? That's all right, cool. He can be a fucking creep, yeah. But
Has any people come and done allegations against him?
Nah, but the fact is, it's not. You might think someone's creepy, but that's not abuse. But at the same time, there's levels between things, innit? And that's the thing. We never go. We just go from. I might say he's creepy, but someone might go straight and no, he's a fucking pedo. It's like, all right, there's levels in between that, innit? And I might think that I don't think he has to be a pedo for me not to like him. I could just not like him because he's creepy. That's enough for me. I'm like, I don't need to go all that far. You might have to go that far. I don't have to call him a pedo. I just think that shit you did is mad creepy. Yeah. Creepy, Joe. I don't like it.
So what, I mean, like, with Trump, though, he's got actual cases pending.
Yes. He's like 25 women, like... that have come up.
And is that all to do with the Epstein thing as well, or is it separate?
No, I think it's separate, man.
I think it's been happening for a long time before that.
Yeah.
I mean, he paid off. While he's in office, it's a known fact that he paid off, what's her name, that porn star.
Yeah, he paid off that porn star.
Stormy Daniels.
Daniels, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like, yeah, man, it's like, that, to me, like, that's how I look at things as well. So I'm just like, I don't, even with that, I don't look at somebody and go, oh, because of that, that's why I cut you off. Like, if you want to fuck a porn star, you fuck a porn star, that's on you, innit? Cool. But you fucking a porn star doesn't make your policies any less valid.
No.
Yeah.
So that, again, when are we going to have that conversation? When does that come up in the news?
There's levels to that as well. I think there's levels to that, right? So, say you've got someone who's violent against women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think I would. I think my value of them, even if they did something really amazing, would reduce 100%.
That's cool. Then cut them out. I'm all for that. Like, I love the statues getting taken down. I love the statues getting taken down. I feel like
it's fucking amazing.
If you do something like that, if you are violent towards women, rape, abuse, that kind of stuff, your contribution, whether it stands or whatever, your name should be rubbed out.
Yeah.
Like, we don't even know. We could be looking, I don't know what you invented. You invented something amazing. And we're like, wow, that's amazing. Who invented that? I don't even know. Because they're gone. You're wiped out of it. We don't know who you are. And I love that. I love you. It should be in the back of your mind all the time. If I do something fucked up, they're going to erase me from history. I never existed. I like that.
It's like, why do we even, what's the point of all these fucking statues anyway? Like, why did these people do these things thinking, I want to do this so I can get a statue? They didn't, did they? They just did it.
Well, I think, like, what's his name in Bristol? Like, he what's his name?
Coulson,
yeah. Coulson was a great, like, kind of, great guy and, like, kind of put a lot of money into built the city and stuff like that. But, there's that, right? He did that, right? But where did he get the money to be able to do that?
Yeah.
From slavery.
Yeah.
Where millions and, like, I mean, he wasn't personally responsible for millions, but, like, millions of people suffered, died, displaced, and are still affected to this day. And he was responsible for a large amount of that. So no, he shouldn't. His statue should be taken down. He should be he should be erased from history.
Wait, imagine this.
Also, the ones in America.
Nah, wait, AC, wait. I've got something. Imagine this year, in 50 years' time, right? Jay-Z's dead, but he's got a statue up in Brooklyn. Yeah. And like Jay-Z came through, he came back, he invested in Brooklyn, the Barclays Center, made amazing music, boom, boom, boom. And then someone's like, yeah, but he used to sell crack. He ruined the community, and they pulled the statue down. Could that be a thing?
Again, I think there's levels. I think selling crack. And
true. I'm not. Selling crack is
being a slave trader. But again, is it to some people? And that's the thing. That's the
lives.
That's the idea of morality. It's the selling crack to somebody is just as bad as being a fucking slave trader.
Yeah. To that life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you ruin that.
It's like in the American statues, that they wanted to take down. All these people are they're part of our heritage and blah 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 blah. But when you looked at the actual history of those statues, they were only put up as an answer by like white supremacists against the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
But they're made of like cheap materials. They just put them up in a rush. They were basically just insults to civil rights people, isn't it? So they they weren't really there for celebrating heritage or anything.
But the thing is that they're
Sounds
celebrating
about right.
history, and we're going to forget our history if these statues are taken down and all that kind of shit. The people that you forcibly imported into the country, they have no history. They have no history. Their history started once they hit your fucking shores. So where's their history? You can learn about history in a book. You don't need a fucking statue rubbing it in everybody's faces every day. That this guy was a murderer. This guy was a slave owner. This guy was whatever. You don't need. Like, I had this big conversation with someone like about on Facebook when I was celebrating the statue being taken down. And again, these are the more militant parts of my personality that people don't like about me. Fuck them, I don't care. Like, he was saying, oh yeah, but they're erasing the history of the country. And it's like,
Nope.
that's what books are for.
Yeah,
like, get a curriculum at school that teaches this history, then you don't need a celebratory fucking statue.
It's like in Iraq when they pulled down Saddam Hussein's statues, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's still
people might say, "Oh, we need to leave up this murderous statue because we."
No, you don't.
No.
Like, and he was saying, I was saying, well, make an exhibition about it in a museum. He's like, well, kids don't go to museums. It's like, I went to a museum literally once a month when I was a kid because that's the only place that school would ever fucking take us. That's what museums are for. They're for kids. Books are for kids. Education is for kids.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
What do you think that the future's going to be like, especially the political future for America? Because obviously the House is still Republican dominated, so they still control the Senate, Congress, whatever. So is anything actually going to change?
I don't think anything's ever going to change. Like, it can't possibly change. It goes back to our conversation earlier about local government. I think that I feel really bad. I can never remember her name. What's the
AOC?
Yeah, what's her name?
Alexandra Cortez.
Yeah, I never remember her name because I'm shit with names. I've got a shit brain. But like, I think she is the future of local politics in America. I think there's a lot of cool stuff that's come out of the last few years of like kind of grassroots movements on that side of things. When it comes to like the government of America, nothing ever changes. It doesn't ever change, and it never has the chance to. I think it's just going to be business as usual. But with what
makes me laugh is when all these people are like, "Oh, the socialists are going to take over now," and like the thing is, like the Democrats, you wouldn't really you wouldn't really call them socialists. They don't even
they're not. They're nothing close to socialist.
Standardized healthcare, like, you know, if it like over here, if they came over here, those people, and they see that we've got like NHS and and the conservatives over here aren't gonna like remove the NHS or whatever, then. And they always, you know, even like you got Boris Johnson saying, "Oh, everyone clap for the NHS and everything." They'd be like, "Right, Boris Johnson is socialist, isn't it?" That's how mad they are over there. So it's crazy.
The mad thing is, that's not even socialism, really.
Nah.
Like they're so scared of socialism. Like, it's what was it? McCarthyism in America in the was it 50s? They're scared the absolute living fuck out of everybody about socialism and about like grassing on your neighbour and all this.
Not a mad thing though. They actually found out they had 2,000 KGB agents actually in there at the time. So he was right about the infiltration, but he was in the wrong places, and he just started persecuting all the wrong people. And
it's good, like down to the fact that you've got normal everyday Americans that are scared of like a kind of a social health system. Like a national health system, like they actually to what America is people who are slightly less poor than poor people hating poor people because the poor people can't afford healthcare, and they think I'm working really hard every day and I pay for my healthcare. They can go fuck themselves or get a job or whatever, and that's what American is. That's what the American dream is. Lots of poor people fighting over who's the least poor.
I had an argument with one. American person like that on YouTube. It was a video about Tea Party people going mad about healthcare, and I was like, I don't get why like the NHS has saved my life at least twice or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, but if you had it private healthcare, you'd have had a better job done. I'm like, bro, my life was saved. I don't give a fuck. And I paid taxes, so I'm cool with it, innit? Like a bit of money going to taxes.
and you
I
wouldn't
don't have to worry about all that shit. Say that again.
And Bupa isn't that great, man.
Like, you wouldn't have a better job done. You get it done quicker, but you wouldn't have a better job done. And that's the thing. Like Bupa hospitals and national health hospitals, and like when my mum was having a stem cell transplant, she was in the same ward as the private people. They like, and that's the thing. That's where this all becomes a little bit of a joke, because if you're actually in trouble, like, and you're on your deathbed, the NHS are no better than Bupa. Like, because the NHS will bring you in and like sort you out. Bupa will bring you in and sort you out as well. That's where the waiting list kind of goes out the window anyway. I mean, when I had my, I had to have like my ankle reconstructed, like the ligaments in my ankle reconstructed, like, because I'm not a pimp. I do actually walk like this. Like, I do actually walk with a limp sometimes.
With a limp.
Or anything. Like, I had to wait because I was 19 years old. No, I was 23 years old. I had to wait for like fucking 18 months to get it done. But when I got in there, I was in the same ward as all the private people. They just got it done quicker, but it's exactly the same treatment.
It's crazy, man. I think that this is the thing we have to understand. The systems aren't broken. We're broken, man. It's like our understanding of how the system should work, or our understanding of how we should treat each other. There's a quote that I used on a song, and it says, it's a Gary Vee quote, and he was just like, if you're worried about there not being enough for you, there not being enough, and you're trying to hoard everything, then that's the wrong energy you're putting out there. Like, you've already lost. And I feel like, regardless of where we are in the Western world, we have the attitude of, I need it all for myself. And if I can't get it all, and if you have it, then there's less for me. Yeah. And that is what our attitude and the way we act is what's killing the game. It's not even the system. Like, it's just us, man, being fucking idiots. And
that's so inbred into us. You just have to see like the toilet roll crisis at the lockdown. Like people fighting with each other over toilet rolls when they didn't even need toilet rolls. It wasn't even shitting disease.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know why that happened?
Because people are fucking idiots.
People are fucking idiots, right? So let me break it down for you. So when the virus first started hitting the countries, it was hitting the countries that were around China, yeah? So one of the countries it hit first was Japan. So there was a rumor that had gone around saying that because the Chinese factories were closed, certain certain products that they imported from China wouldn't be available. And someone had mentioned toilet roll. The maddest part of that is Japan doesn't import toilet roll from China. So they had gone crazy buying up loads of toilet roll, and that had made the news. So then people start seeing them doing that in Japan and think, oh, we should do that too. And then people not even knowing why they were doing it. Like, and to me, that's when I say, like, we're the broken ones. We are the actual virus, because there's so much danger that can happen when you don't have the correct information, and you act on impulse, or you act on what you see other people doing.
Did I ever tell you about the time I got attacked by a toilet in Japan?
No. I was about to say, this episode has been so fucking serious, yeah. There's been no fucking jokes. But
that was the same time. That was the same night I took a swing at Chris Martin from Coldplay, and I tried to chuck Matt off the top of the hotel roof.
Jesus. Why did you take a swing at the guy from Coldplay?
Because he's a cunt. No, because he...
Because they were back in the toilet.
Yeah. I was so fucking hammered. Me and Rob, we were over there on tour. Me and Rob, Signman, were like kind of getting absolutely shit-faced at this Sony party. I can't remember if it's Sony or BMG or something like party at this sake house in Japan. So I was just about to like dry heave then. Like, we're knocking back this fucking this sake. So I went like that, and there was loads of people there. Loads of like industry people or whatever. So I ran to the toilet, was sick. I absolutely murked out this toilet, like, and it was like this big electronic thing. And he went, "Hello, blah 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 blah," like big smiley face on it. I was like, "Flush, you fucking cunt," like that. And I pressed this button, and I've never felt it. I've been punched in the face so many times, man. Like, and this felt like I was being punched in the face by Mr. T and Arnold Schwarzenegger at the same time. This is the spray that's supposed to go up your ass as well, like to clean your ass out. So this thing, I pressed the button and I went, what's that moving? And this thing went like that. This little it just went like that and hit me right in the fucking mush. So like I was all dazed and stuff, like, and I was shit-faced, dazed, covered in puke and toilet water. I walked there into the restaurant, and then Chris Martin, I hadn't seen him until that point, looked at me and went oh, like that. So I went, fuck Chris Martin, like that. Went to smack him, and Mr. Matamora, who boy pure out of Watford at this point as well. Like this is like how many years I was into my career. And Mr. Matamora did like some Matrix thing and stopped my arm like that. Mr. Matamora was like the guy who ran our label. So I was like, oh no, bad news. And like kind of ushered me out of the... So I was fucked at this point.
Listen, man, you can't fucking... You can't
I got back to the, like, me and Matt were sharing a room in this so me and Matt went back to the hotel and I'd lost the key, but I wasn't accepting it at that point. Like, I was like, did you leave the key in the room? And he was like, no. And I was taking my shirt off because it was covered in sick and water. So I took my shirt off. I was like, you lost the fucking key to the room. You left it in there, didn't you, you little cunt? Like that. And he was like, no, I didn't, Terry, I swear. So, like, I had my shirt off and I was ushering him up to the roof to chuck him off the roof. Luckily enough, it was only a 2-story building. But, like, I was dragging him.
Okay, then.
Yeah, I was dragging him like, up to the roof like that, and I was like kicking through and I remember it all in my head, but it's like it wasn't me. Saki, man, it's my kryptonite. Hot Saki. Like, and Mr. Matamora came to my rescue again, like trying to wrestle me to the floor. I had Matt on it, like, you fucking little cunts, like that. And like trying to chuck. Yeah, anyway, it was messy.
This is why Matt don't like you anymore.
Yeah, it's why we never worked together again.
Trying to chuck him off a roof.
I swear Matt's like the most mild-mannered, nice person I've ever met as well. Until he's trying to throw him off a fucking roof in Japan. Come and vomit.
Go and tour with D-Raw next time, man. That would be a mad one.
No. Nah, not if Terry and D-Raw. No, you can't do that, man.
that entire tour, man. That was when we went into the what we thought was a strip bar, but didn't turn into. Oh man, yeah, that is. Listen, like I ended up like kind of coupling up with this girl, and like thinking, yes, I'm on tonight, boys. This is happening, like that. And then going to the toilet, coming back out again, and this isn't homophobic in any way, shape, or form. I just don't get down like that. Like, and she turned to me and went, "Are we going back to your hotel?" like that, with this humongous, great big chin, like Jimmy Hill, Adam's apple. Yeah. And stubble that I caught in the light that came across, and I was like, no, I don't think we will, to be honest. Like that, everything ensued after that. Like it was literally called, like we called it the Dishonothon. I chased a policeman on a bike down the road, putting and then like 4 policemen just came out of nowhere with fucking batons. Like I chased a policeman down the road, trying to put "You Are Here" stickers on his back. Oh, he was on a bike. He was going about 3 miles an hour like that. It was the slowest fucking like police chase, and I was chasing the policeman.
Oh, shit, man.
I remember one time, yeah, it was in Brixton Academy, and the cops started chasing me. And I remember like that film Top Gun, innit? The cops were on bikes, yeah. So the cops were behind me, yeah, and I remember like in Top Gun, he goes, hit the brakes, the fly right by, yeah. So I just stopped. Yeah. And the police just went, woo! I just ran in the other direction, innit? And I was like, yeah.
Hey, look, I've got to stop you up there for 2 reasons. Number one, we're about to cut this, about to end this. But the second reason is, like, these tour stories, you're stepping on another show we're about to start as well in the future, which is called Tour Stories.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be talking to both of you. The original show idea actually started because of Terry. So Terry's got the most nuts tour stories ever. and I feel like the people need to hear them, man. And I know AC's got bare. I was thinking about mine. I was like, I don't have any. All mine involve Terry and you.
What about the time when we were in Leeds, man? Don't you remember that? And the girls started kicking everyone. And you got stuck in the house. And then Terry's banging on the door. I'm in a fucking door. Let my brother out.
See, I don't remember that, man. I'll be chilling, man. Man just goes on. I'm not involved, man. I'm just there, got my cider. I'm good, man. Actually, I thought he wasn't drinking back then.
Well, that's the thing. When I used to go on tour with him, he used to stand behind me. I kicked off at a load of Irish lads at Malaga Airport one time because one of them jumped in front of me. And he turned around and he went, "You fucking this wonderful fucking boy," like that. And then he saw Jen and he went,
Yeah, I seem to have that effect on a lot of people. Man. They don't really want to get
my spiritual bodyguard.
They don't want to get.
You're lucky. I wish I had that effect on people.
Boy, at the end of the day, people do this all the time, though. I've always had
double-soled Air Force Ones, AC. Then you a bit taller.
But people always. That's the thing. Like Terry, obviously Terry can handle himself, and Answer as well. Answer can handle himself, but like. People always look like I'm the one who's going to be like the rowdy one. I'll just be chilling, man. Like I'm not none of that. It's always you. It's always the DJs, man. DJs got the don't care, yeah, man. Just on a mad one. I'm just like I'll be on the mic shouting and screaming, but after that, I'm just like, nah, I'm cool, man. What you got planned for the week, man?
Boy, more recording. Just started recording some tunes today, and then I've got like more uni stuff, man. Back in the uni, man.
Yeah, nah. Lockdown ain't really affecting any of us, is it? Really, not work-wise, isn't it?
Not really. Education, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, more boiler stuff. That's about it. Mad lessons all week. Got my little live stream on Wednesday night. Tune in on Wednesday night for some classic hip hop from my Mixcloud. I did a little experiment last week. Did it from home on one turntable. I was just beat juggling on one turntable. It was shit, so I took it down. But I got to get a bit.
I was like sick. No, it was shit. Oh, okay. I'm not sick.
No. There was moments of genius where I was beat juggling with one turntable and like finger drumming with the other one, and I was completely in the zone. And then I forgot where I was, and it completely messed up. But I think it's more of a personal thing more than anything else. But yeah, I'll be doing that again. I'll be using 2 turntables this Wednesday.
All good, man. All good. Well, I'm going to be still trying to sell this house. Hopefully I can get the hell out of here. So that's going to be
have you sold your place yet?
Nah, man. Trying to sell it right now, man.
Have you put an offering in the other place though?
No, they won't let us. So there's the way most of the places work. Unless your house is already being sold, you can't put an offer in on anywhere else.
Yeah, this chain stuff is mad, man. Like it's what fucks up most. Hopefully, fingers crossed, like knock on wood, it won't do anything to yours. But all this chain stuff, man, it's like this never-ending train of fucking anxiety.
Yeah.
When I sold that last place, like the mortgage people for the people that were buying our place were worried because I didn't get mortgage for my place, so like, and there was no chain because I was selling it off and I had the money there or whatever. Yeah. They were worried because I think my people were worried on the place that I was buying because there was a pub in the chain and the place that was buying my place.
Right. Okay.
What's the issue? Why does this affect me? Why are you phoning me about this? It's because like pub sales, like selling pubs and houses that are connected is really dodgy, and sometimes they don't get mortgages for the next place or whatever.
Oh yeah.
How is any of this my problem? Just sign the papers and I'll give you some money. Shut the fuck up. Like the chain thing is such a nightmare.
It's jokes as well though, because like I know this is probably boring everybody else, but when one of the houses we looked at, they were like, "Oh no, our offer's been put in," but then the offer got rejected, and it was like the offer got rejected because they needed another like 15 grand or something. Like it was like a really small amount of money, and you're just like, what? Like the way that the banks work, and like they're so scared right now. I guess because obviously we're about to hit in a recession. And I feel like they've just been overcautious and
They're
Like-
definitely being overcautious about mortgages at the moment. They're knocking everybody back. Like I was talking to someone the other day, and they had to come up with like either a 40 or 50% deposit to even like consider the mortgage.
Yeah, so that's another thing as well. So 10% mortgages are done for most places. So it's like, that's a bit of a mad one as well. But like I don't know, man. I've never thought of like to me a 10% mortgage has never been a thing to really worry about. I've never unless you live in London, then you're looking at 10% is a lot of money to come up with. But I'm out in Watford, innit? So like you're always going to be looking at a 20-30% anyway.
I was looking in places in Watford the other day. Like I was just like out of interest. I was looking on Rightmove, a place in Watford the other day. It's not far off London prices now, man.
It's not far. It's like I guess if we're talking about like Harrow, which is the closest London borough to us. You know what I mean? We're kind of like for a family home. We're about 100 grand less than Harrow at the moment. But yeah, it's not far off. And again, to me, these aren't prices that I feel like when you're talking about affordable housing. These aren't affordable houses. Like I don't really feel
no, not at all. I mean, talking about Hemel Hempstead, that's affordable housing because they're actually paying you to fucking buy the place.
Please buy the house. But even that, like I don't know, man. To me, I just feel like anything over 400 grand to me, I'm like, that's a lot of money, man.
It's a lot of money.
But then in property, it's just not a lot of money.
No.
It's like, what the fuck are we doing there? Talking about numbers, and it's like, I'm not a millionaire, so how are we talking about these crazy numbers, man?
How are you talking about 650 for like a fucking a 2-bedroom house?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, like
Mad, man.
That's it, man. The house I was looking at the other day, I was like, this house is 750. I'm like, that's a crazy number. That doesn't sound
ridiculous.
It's a crazy number.
It's unreal. It's completely unreal. It's like completely intangible.
It is, man. It is. But at the same time, I got followed on Instagram by Idris Elba the other day. Yeah. So listen, I'm thinking he probably wants to sign me to 7 Wallace Records. They're probably gonna sign me, give me a bonus of what, 1.5 mil, I reckon.
Yeah.
Like probably something like. And that's not the deal. That's not even the deal. That's a signing bonus. 1.5 mil, I reckon. In my mind, this is what I think it's gonna be. So I should be alright, man. I reckon. Idris, if you see this, I've read into what that follow meant, yeah? I feel like I've read it correctly. So, yeah, just give me a shout. Let's sign the paperwork.
You just need to put it into the universe.
Yeah, oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's in the universe.
Don't you can say the secret, AC.
Who likes the secret? Is it you, AC? That's your book?
No, I've never read it. I thought it was yours.
You're a couple of cunts.
Oh no, it's Terry's, isn't it?
Terry's there.
It's definitely 100% not my book.
When I first met Terry, I just thought The Secret.
Well, there's a new.
Oh, that's the AC. I thought fisticuffs.
On that note, man, we out of here, man, guys. We will catch you next week. Yeah, man. Peace and love. Stay blessed. If you're in lockdown, try and stay sane. Do something that keeps you sane. Do something that keeps you happy.
It's not just wanking.
Your family.
Do something other than wanking.
Do something. What else is there, bro?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm saying that and I have no idea.
If you find out what else there is to do, let us know, man. But on that note, peace and love, guys. We're out of here, man.
In a bit.
Yeah.